6 months and 3 cardio sessions a week. That's what took me from 25% body fat down to 14%. And yes, I wasn't 10%. Who gives a shit about that? But in all seriousness, I want you to actually understand how I got there. I stopped relying on cardio to do it for me. Look, the reality is cardio isn't a fat loss tool. It's a pretty shitty fat loss tool if it's a fat loss tool. And it never was a fat loss tool. It's a health tool. And there's a massive difference between the two. But you know what? Most people's response when fat loss stalls is to just add more of everything. Oh, more sessions, more hours, more miles. And honestly, they just end up looking like shit. They don't look better. They look puffy, squishy, wobbly, out of shape, and just totally burnt out. They look tired. And worst of all, they're still not lean. So if this sounds familiar to you, there's a reason that's happening. And because I'm a nice guy, I'm going to break it down for you right now. So here is 5 reasons cardio is actually sabotaging your fat loss and exactly what to do instead. Number 1 is called the adaptation trap. Right, your body is incredibly smart, very intelligent. Also, it's pretty fucking lazy as well. So essentially, the more you repeat the same form of cardio, the more efficient your body gets at it. And when I say efficient, I mean it just burns fewer calories doing the exact same amount of work. So let's give you an example. When you first started running for 30 minutes, right, your body worked really hard for it. But doing that same run for 6 weeks in a row, well, it's burning significantly fewer calories because your body found a shortcut. So think of it like this, right? You've now reached a point where you're putting in the same time with the same amount of effort, but you're burning less energy. And that's what I call the adaptation trap. And most people's response is just, I just need to have more cardio, bro, which just restarts the whole cycle. You're basically on a hamster wheel, grinding harder, going nowhere, and you're repeating the same thing over and over again. Number 2 is cardio's eating your muscle for fun. And I'm not joking when I say that. This is really important, especially if you're in a calorie deficit. When you're trying to lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit, right? I think we all know that's an absolute non-negotiable. But when you add excessive cardio on top of that, your body just runs low on available fuel and it starts breaking down not just fat, but muscle to compensate. Now, this matters a lot because muscle is your metabolism, right? And less muscle means a slower metabolism, which means fat loss gets harder and you're essentially just digging yourself into a hole. But here's the thing, resistance training does the opposite. So for those of you shitting yourself about lifting weights, you might want to actually reconsider it because it sends a direct signal to your body to keep the muscle even in a deficit. And so your body then protects what it believes it needs. So yeah, while excessive cardio can actively work against you because it can, resistance training is protecting your body. And even more importantly, it's the diet that's doing the actual fat burning work. Number 3 is resistance training, which I just mentioned, burns calories long after you stop. All right, there's an acronym called EPOC, EPOC, and yes, I'm not trying to be a professor, right? It stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Right, in layman's terms, it just means your body continues burning calories at an elevated rate for hours and hours after a resistance session. In fact, research shows for up to 14 hours after. And the reason that happens is because after resistance training, your muscles get damaged, obviously, and they need to repair, right? And that repair process burns calories while you're on the sofa, while you're sleeping, while you're playing with yourself, whatever you're doing, while you're just going about your day. Now, when you compare that to a 30-minute cardio session, the calorie burn stops pretty much the moment you do. As soon as you step off that treadmill, it stops. But with a decent training session, you're still burning at an elevated rate the next day. Well, the next morning at least. And that is a stimulus cardio can't even come anywhere close to. Hey, just a quick favor, if this is making sense so far, why don't you hit subscribe? Because I make videos like this every single week. It really helps. It helps the channel. It helps me psychologically and emotionally. I'm just fucking with you. Now, if you want to subscribe. If you don't, it's all good. All right, number 4 is your diet is doing 90% of the work for you. This is the one most people don't want to hear. They're like, blah, 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 blah. But you know, fuck it. You're going to hear it anyway because you have to. When it comes to fat loss, it's a diet problem. It's not a cardio problem. You can't out-train a bad diet. Yeah, we've all heard that saying before, right? But most people still act like cardio is the holy grail. The only way to lose fat is to be in a consistent calorie deficit over time. That's it. Because on average, cardio's shitty. It burns about 200 to 400 calories a session, if you're lucky, by the way, which sounds decent on paper. But a handful of almonds, a slightly bigger portion of your kid's dinner, and a protein bar on the way home from work because you're starving, well, that just wipes that out completely without even thinking about it. You just got to nail your diet, right? You've got to be in a genuine deficit and add 3 to 4 resistance training sessions a week and just let the diet do the rest of the heavy lifting for you. And that's exactly what I did. I just dialed in my nutrition. I was fucking consistent with it. And lo and behold, the fat came off and I wasn't having to grind through hours on a treadmill every day and every week. You know what though? It's really not complicated. I see all these videos and it's actually quite boring, fat loss, because you're just doing the same few actions on repeat over and over again for a few months until you get to your end goal. There's honestly nothing secretive or magical about fat loss. Number 5, you've got to have patience, my friend. This kills most people. It kills the results because they do everything right. The diet's nailed, the training consistently, and then they step on the scale and they're like, oh, fucking hell, the number's gone up, and they shit the pants. And then they say, right, fuck it, I'm going to cut more calories, I'm going to add more cardio, and I'm just going to fuck everything up I've just built. And I've said this a lot, not that you've watched my other videos, but I'm going to keep saying it. Your body loves holding on to water. Also, you've got glycogen, which is basically the stored form of carbohydrate in your muscles. Well, that binds to water too. So if you've had a higher carb day or a salty meal or a bigger meal or a hard training session, your glycogen stores refill and you just hold more water temporarily. And we're talking anywhere from 2, 3, 5, even 6 pounds of water overnight. But the reality is it's not worth panicking over because these daily fluctuations just happen, right? It's just completely normal. Also, your blood volume can fluctuate. Your inflammation from training can fluctuate. That can add temporary weight too. And none of it is body fat. Absolutely none of it. I did a hard workout, a leg workout on Sunday, woke up the next day and I was a pound over. Woke up 2 days after, I was another pound over. I didn't shit myself and go, oh, I'm putting on fat. It's because my body's got inflammation because I worked my bollocks off. That's why. And look, here's what I really need you to take on board, right? If you know you're in a genuine calorie deficit, just trust it because fat loss is happening. It's just that the scale isn't showing it yet. You've got to give it 3 to 4 weeks before you even think about making a calorie adjustment. Not 1 week, not 2 weeks. Don't start shitting yourself. Don't get married to data on a screen on the floor. It's just data. Give it at least 3 to 4 weeks. Speaking of weighing yourself as well, another thing worth noting is that weekly weigh-ins are just noise. They're a load of shit. Monthly trends are the data, and the people who understand that are the people who get results, right? But the ones who react to daily weight or weekly weights, they're the ones who fuck it up for themselves and throw in the towel. And they're actually the ones who are still in the exact same place they were 6 months prior. So I think I've made myself very clear, all right? Stop using cardio as a primary fat loss tool because it's useless for that. Use it for your health because it is brilliant for your heart and your cardiovascular system. I'm not saying it's not before the haters start flaming me. And it's good for your longevity, right? But keep your zone 2 work if you want to. Keep your HIIT sessions going, but view it as this is for health. I'm not doing it to burn 700 calories. It's just not going to work that way, right? And if you start thinking that way, that's when everything psychologically just shifts for you. And finally, just get your diet right? Add some resistance training and just understand that the scale, well, what the scale is actually telling you, it's just data, and you've just got to have patience with the process. Like I said at the beginning, I went from 25% body fat to 14% in 6 months. And I wasn't on the treadmill for hours and hours and hours. Honestly, no bullshit. I did it because I nailed my nutrition. And I just trusted the process, which sounds cliche, right? I know it does. But I was just like, I'm going to let it do its thing. I'm just going to let my body do its thing. And that's what you can do too. All right, this is where the shameless plug comes in, but I don't really care, right? If you want help putting this together, whether that's fat loss, whether it's building muscle or just being healthy after 40 years old, I can help you with that. There's a short form below if you want to fill it in. I'll read it, I'll look at it and go, oh, she looks good or he looks good. And if that's the case, I'll email you a bigger questionnaire and we'll go from there. There's no promises we're going to work together. It's just an initial sort of contact. if you will. And with that said, it was awesome seeing you today. Hope you got value from the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe. Help my anxiety with this channel. I'm just fucking with you, honestly. It's just funny. But I'll see you on the next one. Take care.